right here from the Victory Room, and I'm coming at you live with my boy Trey, my sister Ashley, and my father, Pastor Smokey Norfolk. And today we just want to talk about what's going on in the world. You know, it's not too much. It's not too much. You know, not too much to say. So let's get into it, man.
Oh my God.
Right.
Okay. Oh
All right, family. So thank you for joining my family. This is Pastor Smokey Norfolk and my beautiful kids, my children. These are my 3 heartbeats, and so I'm glad that they came to hang out with me and to really have a candid, very candid conversation. You're gonna see how interesting our household can be sometimes. And I say it's candid because they have no idea what we're discussing. I would not tell them. They've been beating me up and bombarding me. Dad, what are we talking about? Dad, what is this about? What is this discussion on? What is this about? So I wouldn't tell them because I just wanted them to give me raw, uncut, unadulterated conversation. And so that's exactly what this is. I'm literally letting you in on just a candid, raw conversation. No rehearsal. Uncut. Here we go. Are y'all ready? First thing we're going to talk about. Why is everybody? They all nervous now. They're all on pins and needles because they have no idea what we're going to talk about. Let me introduce everybody. First of all, this is my oldest child, sometimes my youngest. This is Ashley. This is the spoiled-est one of the whole bunch right here. This is my daughter, Ashley. My son, Trey, the most calm, quiet, cool, laid back, but extremely brilliant, genius-minded son, Trey. Let me go back and say some nice things. She's spoiled, right? So I got to go back and say some beautiful things. My beautiful, super smart, gifted, incredible, very, very athletic, used to be, but she's a phenomenal individual, but also has a great deal of skill at leading people. And she's a leader, just naturally a leader, including her own organization. She does a phenomenal job. And then this is the baby boy. I don't really have to say much because you shall see for yourself that he is the truth, and he tells the truth, and sometimes he tells too much truth. We have to pull him back in. He is the most like me, probably out of the bunch, the most suave, sexy. Can I get anything? Can I get
lying, though.
So that's what I'm saying.
It is what it is.
He's the one that you will definitely know without me having to do much of an introduction. But he's brilliant. All of my kids are blessed. God has blessed me, and they're very, very highly intelligent. This is the one that cried in was the 8th grade, 7th grade because you got a B.
I'm like 6.
No, it was not 6th grade. It was like 7th or 8th grade. No, it was not. No, because he's never received anything less than a B. Than an A. I'm sorry, nothing less than an A since he's been in school. So incredibly gifted. God has just been really good to me, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to know Ashley, Trey, and Ashton, as well as myself, because I want them to come to the table and for us to just discuss some things that I know people are thinking about dealing with. This is a really crazy time. I am very, very sure that people are dealing with some of the same things that we're dealing with, and this is what I have concluded, and what I know you're going to conclude. There's nobody exempt. I don't care who you are. I don't care how big of a celebrity you think you are or that you are. I don't care how much money you have, how much money you don't have. I don't care what side of town you're from, what city, what state, what region, what country. Everybody on the planet is dealing with the same thing, and everybody is enduring some of the same types of conditions. And so we're really, really, truly all in this together. The one thing that I think has come out of this, probably greater than anything that will come out of this, is unity. we have really united. I've seen people all over the world on balconies singing together, clapping and cheering for one another, and really celebrating the forgotten groups like our first responders. So this has been an incredible side effect of the challenges and the crisis and the trouble that we've had to endure and persevere through, is that we're doing it together. So thank you for letting my family come into your life and just be another voice and another part of the conversation. So, you guys ready? First thing we're going to talk about is these looks. This is what is called quarantine hair. This is, I think we're gonna pull off a miracle today. We're gonna actually get my baby boy to take off his do-rag and his.
Yeah. I mean, but no.
Nah, it's okay. You get it. Listen, I'm growing this out. I trimmed it up myself, but this is probably, I'm going back to the 80s. You know, where we had a little fro. You know, all I'm missing is the pick with the fist in it. They don't know anything about that. Or a rake. They know nothing about that. So sisters, like, how are you guys managing? That's what I want to know. How are you managing? The struggle is real. She dressed up. I haven't seen her like this. She's been in my house the whole quarantine. She hasn't looked like this
No.
at all. Like, not at all.
I woke up like this.
Yeah, no, you did not. No. She got here later than everybody else.
You talk.
No. Go ahead. So how are you managing the girly things, like how are you handling not being able to go get your hair done, and like what are some things that you're doing? And how has it affected you at all?
Wait, why you say it
no,
like
no,
that?
go ahead.
Oh, okay. It's been pretty tough lately because, with us ladies, we have to go get our hair done every week. We had to get our eyebrows done and all of that. I went to set an appointment to get my hair braided, but can't go, so I don't know.
Well, I think your brothers and I can help with that.
No.
I'll take care of your eyebrows.
No.
I can do the braids.
You got the braids?
No.
You got the braids. You got to do your own waxing though.
Hello.
You completely on your own.
Hey.
You completely on your own.
I got it.
So, sisters, the struggle is real. But that's actually what I wanted to talk to my kids about. They don't know this, but really, they all three of them have a very unique perspective, like a really, really incredibly unique perspective on how this is impacting and affecting them. And I really wanted to give them an opportunity to just tell how they feel, and perhaps you'll get something out of it, or I can offer something at the conclusion of this. But I really wanted to give them a chance to be candid about how things are making them feel. And let me start with the oldest, because she's older. I won't tell her age, but she's older and has been to college, has a degree, and is in the midst of a career, and really is a Fortune, are they Fortune 500 company?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she works for a Fortune 500 company and is in the logistics department, and it's a big job, big company, big situation, but she has not been able to go into the office. So she has turned the guest room in my house. I have to make sure I specify guest room. It's not her room, it's the guest it's the guest room in my house into her office space. And it's been incredibly interesting just to watch her, navigate the whole terrain of remaining in the corporate infrastructure and do that. So how are you handling that, or how has that been?
It's been pretty tough, especially because corporate America, like the bosses and the managers, they're in frantic mode too, because no one knows exactly what's going to happen. So I think sometimes they don't realize that their panic kind of carries down on their employees, and so everything is like a do now, and now that we're not in the office with each other, we have to talk on the phone all the time and Skype. And
How long are the
like,
conference calls?
Oh my God. These calls are like 3 hours sometimes, and I have like 2 and 3 of them each day. So it's been pretty tough with that because, I mean, you know, sometimes even when I am in the office, like I'll work from like 8 to 6 o'clock at night, or 7 o'clock at night. But now working from home, it's sometimes until like 9 or 10, just because it's so many people that you have to connect with at one time. And you have to get it done, because just because this stuff is happening doesn't mean that your work doesn't stop. So it's tough.
First of all, it's a blessing to have a job.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who in this moment, you know, they wish that somebody was telling them just work from home. So we don't take for granted at all that it's just a blessing for her to have a job. I'm going to say it if nobody else says it. It's a blessing for her to have a job. Thank you, Jesus. Which is why, you know, I said, come home where the internet is good. Make sure that you have, come on, because you can't lose this job. We need you to keep your job as long as they want you to have a job.
Yeah.
So, but how do you deal with the pressures? I mean, because you can't quit. And that's not a, you know, that's a definitive statement. That's demonstrative. You can't quit. So because of that, how do you manage the stress of that? Because I've seen it. I've watched you. It's pretty stressful at times. Mm-hmm. And I've gone in her room. Listen, I've gone in her room and she'll have gospel music on. And I'm like, you listen to Christian music?
Oh, I like Christian music. I could turn up to some Christian music.
Yeah, okay. She says, yeah, when I'm stressed at work, this is what I do. But that's one method. What else do you do to handle the stress?
I beat you in pool.
No, you don't do that. You may try.
Okay. Well, I definitely pray, because God has to keep me sometimes, especially on these calls and with the managers and things of that nature. So I definitely have to pray. Sometimes I listen to Christian music because I want to make sure that my mindset is right. You know, sometimes people can take you out of that mindset where you kind of forget what you are. You forget your faith. And so I have to just kind of refocus sometimes and understand that, you know, God has control. And that's kind of what I do. And talk to you a lot too. Yes. About my problems and issues, because you are, you know, your head is
a lot
filled with a lot of wisdom. So
thank God.
You know, I try to seek your advice a lot of times, because I know that
do you listen?
I do.
No, seriously, do you listen?
I do.
Does your sister listen?
Well,
I don't know the advice though.
No, period. Does she listen?
You can't tell her nothing.
Wait a minute. In certain situations like work, where I know you are, like, you've been an employee before, you've been a manager before, like you're a boss, like, you know what I'm saying, like you've been boss. Oh my God,
I heard that.
Why would you say that?
I know, right?
I'm a boss.
Because
my daughter said I'm a boss.
Okay.
Whatever. So I just know that you've been in a lot of situations and you know how to handle a lot of things. So sometimes I seek your advice, because I know, you know, God have given you wisdom in many different areas of life. So you know, you'll come home from a long day of doing whatever you're doing, and I'll talk to you about some of the issues or the problems that I'm having. So, you know, I pray.
Good stuff. So I'm gonna skip a generation, or skip an age demographic, not a generation, but let me skip an age demographic and go all the way to the baby boy. Yeah.
I'm trying to hear what he can say. So
No.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because I know he finna say something smart, something sophisticated.
No, you're sophisticated enough. I need true raw. So you're good. So I think this is a tough time for you, because I'll just paint the picture for everybody else. He just turned 16 in January, just got his driver's license, just got a vehicle, and is really was excited to be able to do stuff for himself on his own. And now at 16, he's having to deal with the fact that, number one, I can't drive to school. I was so looking forward to being able to just drive myself to and fro to school. Can't go and pick up your friends, your buddies, and drive them somewhere, do anything. Can't assimilate, associate, and socialize and hang out with your friends, except through, social media and on the games, as you do nonstop, day in and day out. How are you handling that? Because that seems like it would be challenging too. So how's that? How do you feel about this?
I feel like it's challenging at times, but then you got to think of it like you got to just play your part in trying to better the world, not being too social and just saving lives of others. Like trying not to spread it, and maybe I have it if I don't. Just trying to be cautious.
But how do you feel? How does it make you feel that you can't hang out with your buddies and like really go and because they were coming to pick you up and driving you around when they got their license, and so here it is, you got your license. How's that making you feel?
It's just a blessing I have a license because like at this time there's a lot of people's birthdays, so they can't even go to the DMV and get it. Like
I didn't think of that.
They can't even celebrate their birthday. Period. So. But the social aspect, like hanging out, I mean, we still like it's a generation, it's a time that we can communicate without being in the same room, so it can really balance out. Like you just text, FaceTime, be on a game,
which is what you do regularly anyway. That's a great point. So it's people like me who are struggling and suffering, but your generation is really cool with this. Like what's different, except that you can't go out. So, what do you think? What do you think will be like? It will be like rather when this is past, when this is over, when this is gone, when the crisis is ended. How do you think it'll affect your generation?
It'll. I feel like it'll affect everybody, but in particular mine. It's just we're gonna feel the effects for a while socially.
Anybody can answer too. Y'all can jump in anytime. Go ahead.
Like we're just gonna feel the effects in different aspects, like. How we treat people, the way we see.
Like what, for example?
How we treat people. If somebody coughs or sneezes, I mean, like I'd be like, "Well, were you straight?" It won't be like a bless you or like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so bless you is gone.
I think that's over for a little while. that's it's just yeah. Right, like did you wash your hands? I'm not, me personally, it's no more shaking. It's just gonna be what up, bro, you know what I mean? So
but do you think that we're losing something if we don't shake hands, if we're not dapping each other, you don't have the connectivity, the bond?
We have to heal though, so
we have to heal.
It's gonna take some time before you get back to that.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
So now it's don't touch me.
It's not don't. It's not. I don't want you to touch me. Yeah, it's pretty much.
Said, well, no, not. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, don't touch me, bro. We cool, but like I feel like you're not losing.
So you don't want anybody to come up and just bear hug you?
Nah.
No girls even? No.
I mean, it depends on who it is. Hold on. It definitely depends on who it is.
Oh my gosh. So this, I saved him for last. This is my son Trey. I saved him for last because I think his situation is probably the most critical or challenging out of all three of my kids, and probably not probably, he represents an entire demographic in our community right now that's enduring the same thing that he's enduring, and really it almost makes me emotional and heartbreaking because it is it's challenging. Like, it's challenging. So let me give you his scenario. He is 18 years old. He is about to graduate from high school. This is his graduating year, and he is supposed to go to college in the fall. And so he's done exceptionally well, incredible student, and but all the things that you experience in your freshman year, he's not getting to experience, like prom.
Senior
year. I'm sorry, not freshman. Senior year. Boy, you make sure. He said, "Hey, whoa,
I did that already.
I did that. Yeah, don't take me back." But in the senior year, like the prom or graduation, we don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know what tomorrow looks like, when and or if They will go back to school. In some places, they've already said school is done for this time, this season. It's all e-learning, and then what? So how are you handling that pressure?
I'm fine. Like,
Y'all see what I mean? Laid back. We call him Lil Walter. That's his granddaddy's name. He's the same way. Laid back.
yeah. No, you just take it day by day, because tomorrow's not promised. So
That's
you
true.
don't know what to really expect, especially with everything that's going on. You just take it day by day.
So how does it make you feel though,
Yeah.
that you might miss out on your prom or having a prom? Because I remember for me, that was probably the only time I felt like, oh wow, I got to do something. Because I wasn't a party guy. I didn't go out like you all do and hang out. I was a homebody. But prom, I was excited about, and even graduation, because we don't, like you said, we don't know. I mean, does that make you sad at all that you won't have that experience, or may not have that experience? Like, no.
I mean,
No, you tell the people. Tell us.
probably the fact that like I won't see like some of the kids I go to school with
Oh, yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Like maybe like there's something that I will miss. Like if I don't see them again, but you just don't know how long this is. So we still have all the summer, but you just don't know.
Yeah. Even your last year, this is
Yeah.
your last summer before you're supposed to start college,
Mm-hmm.
and you're spending it in the house.
Yeah. So
How's that?
it's fine because I'm surrounded by people I love and that
Okay.
understand and that are there for me. So
See, he's the
Of
best.
course.
This is the best one right here. This is the best one.
Scripted. Tell how you really feel, man. That's crazy though. Like losing those opportunities.
yeah.
So
Have you even thought about it until now? Like, has it even crossed your mind at all?
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
Have you do your friends talk about it?
Yes.
And what do they
sometimes.
say? How do they feel?
They're more of like in a panic,
Mm.
like because some people have already they've already bought their dresses,
Oh,
and
yeah.
gotten all their stuff.
Spend that money.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
they're trying to figure out do they get their money back? Do they wait? What's the deal?
Mm.
But other than that, no.
But they're not as cool and calm as you are.
No. Some of them are in a panic. Some people are like trying to figure out, do we actually have to do this e-learning? Like, are they just going to cancel school? What's the point? Like,
Do we get a grade? Is it
Yes.
going to cause us to pass? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to figure that stuff out.
what ways do you think it's best to manage that pressure? Because maybe you don't feel it because you're so laid back. Period. Like you just is like he internalizes everything and he's just calm. But what ways do you recommend that people really manage that pressure? Because that's a stress. That's a pressure that
Yeah.
people feel. So
Take breaks. You don't have to do everything like now. It's like pace yourself. You don't want to like stress yourself to the point where you can't even focus on the task that you're doing. Like it takes time. It's a process. You just have to go through it and just make sure you do it right instead of just rushing it. And
Are you
end up
saying
wrong.
take breaks for the e-learning stuff that you guys
Yeah,
are
like you
doing?
say it's e-learning. You got it like a hour project. Finish that project, but say you have another class. Like take like a little 5-10 minute break, then go into the next class. Like get your mind right.
what ways do you guys recommend that people take their minds off of the critical crisis that we're all suffering from, or that we're all enduring?
I think just like spending time with like the people that you care about, if you're able to, because I understand that some people aren't even really able to. Some people are in quarantine, and like you're constantly watching, even whether it's on the internet or on the news, where kids, toddlers are being separated from their parents because they're more prone to getting it or more at risk. So unfortunately, everyone is in a situation or a position where they can spend that quality time with people that they care about. Luckily, I mean, we don't have that situation, and I'm definitely grateful for that, because I've been getting some good food constantly. Like I've been eating well.
But hasn't cooked anything.
Not one thing. Yep, been eating well. So what'd you say?
I just
What you say?
He said, I just noticed that. No. Nothing.
nothing.
I cooked nothing.
No, but I am grateful and feel like I'm extremely blessed. So For me, I just would say just try to occupy your time with things that you enjoy doing. If it's not with family or friends, definitely read a book, start a project of your own, obviously talk to God, spend some time with him and in his word. That's the best advice I can give.
How you guys feel about social distancing? This new phenomenon that everybody, of course, is talking about.
When we saw on the news the other day about the pastor who had the church and got he had taken to jail or something.
He got arrested.
Yeah, he got arrested for having church. And so one of the things that he stated was that this is a time where we need church, because they stated the laws were, if you're not what was it, like a prominent business, or if you're an essential business, then you need to shut down, or an essential establishment. So he was stating that the church is essential. We need this. Mm-hmm. So especially in a time like this. So like, do y'all think that, hey, he's crazy, like he's not doing his part for having a congregation? It was like 1,300 people or something like that. It wasn't a small,
I don't remember, but I know
it wasn't a small gathering. But one of the things he said, that they were taking precautions by having ventilators or something there that kills the virus
mm-hmm.
immediately. So I guess my question is, like, do we then punish those people who say, well, no, I have faith in God and we're going to be fine, let's have this service because we are essential? Or is it like, hey, don't be stupid, you're not doing your part?
You don't want to answer? You don't want me to answer? You can tell what you think. What do you think?
I mean, there's other ways to have church. The problem was that he had the service, like the actual church service, but you can still have church without having like the whole 1,300. Yeah, like you could just stream it, or you can be with your family and pray. Get on a call and pray. But I wouldn't have a big gathering of 1,300 people though. So
especially when the government says,
yeah, especially
when 10.
Yeah.
So that's the key right there. Both of them, they gave the right answer, or they gave the answer I should say I would give. It's right for me. It's been right for our church. It's been right for a lot of churches, and to me, it's a biblical precedent, or it's a biblical priority, because the Bible says that we're subject to the authority that has been given rule over us, and he who rebels against that authority also rebels against God. That's scriptural. And so if the government comes out based upon scientific evidence and they say, hey, this is what is causing this, and here's a way to mitigate the spread of this virus, and we go against that because we purport that, yeah, but we really need to assemble here, we really need to gather here. The early church didn't have what we have. They didn't have the big sanctuaries. They didn't have, the mass gatherings. But Paul gathered, and all of the people of God gathered in houses. That was how the early church began to form. They would have, home gatherings. So I don't think that risking spreading that virus to anybody unnecessarily and unlawfully, I don't think that can be trumped by religious fortitude or having a religious posture. I think we are subject to the governmental restrictions. Now, when they issued the governmental restrictions the first week, I had worship service, but what I did was I made alterations to accommodate us to be able to do that, because they said do not gather more than 1,000 people, and that was again based on whatever knowledge they had at that time, which has changed daily. It was 1,000 people, then it was 250, and then it was 50, and then it was 10, and then it was no more than one other person, and now it's stay at home.
Yeah, that 10 got me.
But again, to me, significantly, what's the difference between two people in the same household and one of them affects the other one and 1,000? So I think this isolation that they finally come to is where they probably should have started at, with nobody move, nobody go anywhere, completely isolate yourselves so that we can minimize the spread of this. Because even during that time when it was up at 1,000 threshold here in our state, in Illinois, there are some churches, one just came on the news recently, where the pastor and several of the congregants that came together during that time, the incubation period has expired and they contracted it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, to that point, I think that we have to honor the laws, and we also have to use wisdom. Everything that is even lawful, just because we can do it, the Bible says everything lawful is not expedient, meaning it's not wise.
Mm-hmm.
So just because we can doesn't even mean that we should. We should ask God for wisdom, ask Him for His peace, and we should do what allows us to still carry the word forth, but in strategic ways. That's what we've done at our church, and I am more than happy to share whatever I can in wisdom, insight on how we do whatever we do, including I've asked for my team to put together worship segments from our praise and worship on Sundays, so that churches, smaller churches that may not have it, use it. Come and get it. It'll be on our website soon, and we'll be distributing it, so you can just grab what you need, use it in your broadcast, because it's not about our church either. It's about the kingdom. It's about Christ. So I don't really care about sharing, and I'm more than happy to share even the resources that we have, the platform that we have. I'll tell you who we go through and how we use them and what software we use, what kind of lighting we use. This is a real simple setup right here. You wouldn't believe it. It's a real simple setup, and we have no real cameraman. We've got one of my pastors.
The look.
We've got one of my salty pastors now who's mad because we didn't call him a real cameraman, but trust me, this is not what he does.
Amen.
So what else do you guys, what else y'all want to discuss? What do you think is a good topic to discuss?
I just want to piggyback off of what you were just saying.
Mm-hmm. You said Ashton was going to talk more than everybody?
Oh,
well, go ahead.
Sorry. Sorry. No, I just want to piggyback off what you were saying. We just.
Go ahead.
So you asked all of us like, how is it for us dealing with it? But like you, especially since I forget, like sometimes you're like a celebrity.
That has no bearing.
I know, but no. What I'm saying is like what you do. Like you're not just a pastor. Like you get booked to speak and to sing and to minister to other people.
Yeah, so it's affecting that money. So don't y'all ask me for nothing.
So I mean, I guess it's just kind of like I know that there's dates and stuff you had to cancel, especially the cruise. You weren't going to that, but I'm
so
just
now
saying,
we gotta
like,
no. So I was booked for a cruise. I was supposed to sing and host this concert on a cruise. I'll go ahead and give a shout out to the Tom Joyner cruise, the Fantastic Voyage. And before all of this even came down the pipeline, when they docked the boat out in California and wouldn't allow it to come back to shore, and the virus started spreading on cruise ships, and then the government issued a warning, an advisory, don't take cruises. Well, my children decided among themselves they didn't really care what anybody else said, what the government said, and they said, we love you, Tom, but my daddy ain't going. And so they threatened to hide my bags. They threatened to sabotage my Uber.
Yeah, you weren't going.
Sorry, Tom.
You weren't going.
They were adamant, like, Dad, and I wouldn't tell them that of course I wasn't going. I was just like, no, I gotta do this. I'm under contract. I gotta go. I'm obligated to be on there, and they're like, yeah, and you're not going. He said, what?
When you
We'll
get
take
done,
it to court.
Take it to court.
So you asked how is it affecting me? It has affected me definitely from a financial perspective, as it has everybody else. I don't want to paint a picture like I'm any different, and even in a bad place, because I know that there are people, as bad as you may think things are for you, what I've learned in this role as pastor is there's always somebody else who is worse off than you. So I don't want to paint a picture like, oh, woe is me and in agony, and no, but it is definitely affecting everybody. I don't care if you're a billionaire, it's affecting you in this season, because billionaires are losing millions. Millionaires are losing, what is it?
100,000.
Hundreds of thousands. See how smart they are? I need them.
I was waiting on like
What is it? A thousand heirs are losing.
thousandaires.
It doesn't matter who you are in this season, it's hitting you. And it's hitting us financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And even as a pastor, I carry the weight not just of myself, but of a whole congregation. And then just in general, because I have a mercy gift that makes me care about people. Like, even when I want to turn it off, I cannot turn it off because it is who God made me to be. And it's what gives me the grace to do what I've been called to do in ministry all the way around. So it's a different season. Having to come up with sermon material and then work the camera and find microphones and find lighting and run around because I don't have teams to send out. I don't want to send anybody out because I really don't want to put anybody in a position to be sick. Or so I've taken every precaution. I got masks, I've got gloves, I've got hand sanitizer, and literally suited and booted every time I go out. But it's me. I've been running around as if I've started the church all over again, like when I did when I first started the church, to the extent that my daughter comes to me last week and says, "Dad, you really been moving around a whole lot in the midst of all of this," because I would rather go and send anybody else, and I would rather go to the store, than you guys. Y'all are not going. Like this one, I don't even have to tell him. The toilet. Look, the toilet and the plumbing in my house backed up, and he wouldn't even let me call the plumber in. No, we good. Don't worry about it. We'll be all right. And so, this is the germaphobe, like his mother of the family right here. This is Carla's child for sure.
I just want everything to be clean.
Yeah, okay.
Why take a chance?
He wipes down everything. He will wipe you down if you sit still long enough. But that's one way that it's affected me. The other way, of course, is no hair, no haircuts. So this is probably the only time you will see me, like this with this nice little fro and no line. I had to grow this on out.
All right, mine too.
Yeah.
What? Why is mine coming in?
It's coming. It is. It's coming.
Where?
I see it. Let me wipe it off though. But that's another way, of course, and then trying to figure out how to serve people.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing. How do I serve? Because I can't organize teams to go out and give away canned goods and do, things that we would normally do. There are some people who are doing it, and I applaud them. I celebrate them. But for me personally, I haven't been inclined to do it that way. We've had to be strategic and find ways to sow into the organizations that are doing it. Or we've partnered with nursing homes, and we've partnered with battered women's shelters, and we partnered with hospitals, and to just be a blessing in every way that we can. So we don't want to stop being the church. That's been really hard. And then probably the hardest thing of all is trying to convince my kids that I'm not doing TikTok. Like that has been really hard.
That's not want to see a
No, they do not.
Oh, hey, okay, hold on now. Hold on, Daddy.
Hey,
Well, everybody's doing that one.
I know.
They even had my mama doing one on a hip replacement, and she falls down. And they did exactly what they're doing right now. Everybody busts out laughing. And so between my wife, my kids, my mama, I wanted to strangle all of them. Sit down somewhere. So no, I'm good on the TikTok. Y'all keep doing the TikToks. That's fine. It's great. I'm gonna keep watching with my kids, but
TikTok coming soon.
Be encouraged, family. Thank you guys for joining us and for hanging out with us in the Victory Room for a few moments. I hope you have been blessed. Let me put a bow on it and just say I thank my children for, first of all, loving God, and for loving Carla and myself enough to be respectful and to even allow me to put them on the spot, because they didn't have any clue what we were going to talk about. Send me some information, or send me some ideas, or some questions, because we're going to go live and answer some questions, and we may even do it after this broadcast. So you better go to @Smokey Norfolk, and log in, because you may get us going live. And of course, they'll be with me and we'll answer some of your questions. It's just get ready to shoot them to me. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know how you're feeling, what you're dealing with. I would love to be able to offer a word of encouragement, also the Word of God, which is the source of our encouragement on that particular topic, that particular issue, and or even some practical wisdom, insights, and resources that we may have found, that we may have knowledge of through my church or through the ministry, that we can offer freely to you so that you can remain encouraged. There are resources available for your kids so that you're not just doing e-learning, but you can do Christian learning. You can do Sunday school at home, or church school at home. There are ways that you can do that, and we have access to some of those ways that we love to share with you. All right, God bless you. Love you. Be encouraged. And know that, I'll say it again, I've been saying it and I won't stop. God is still God. He's still God. And as long as He's God, we're good. God bless you. God, we thank you for this day, this moment. We acknowledge that you are God, that you are the sovereign one who is in charge. And for that, we are grateful and we have a greater peace. You said you would keep us in perfect peace if we keep our minds stayed on you. And so help us, God, to continue to turn our focus towards you. In the toughest and the roughest moments of all that we're enduring in this life and in this season, we turn our focus and our attention towards you and ask you for your divine peace. Restore peace in the hearts and the minds of your people. And even in the midst of chaos, let us be an example of what true peace looks like. That when the storm is raging around us, we can still be still and know that you are God. And I come to you on behalf of every person that is hurting in this season, every person that feels lost, every person who is overwhelmed, every person who is arrested by fear. And I ask God for a supernatural impartation of your grace and your peace in their lives, and help them to be reminded that you're the sovereign one and that you're completely in control and that nothing has caught you off guard. God, we thank you and we acknowledge that you are a healer, a sustainer, a keeper, and that you can even keep us through this moment. I pray for all of the hospital workers, the nurses, the doctors, the clinical staff, the technical staff. God, I ask that you would bless them in this season, that they would be reminded that you, oh God, will give them strength in the midst of their weakness. I ask, God, that you would arrest the hearts and the minds of all of those who are in leadership in the government, that you would take authority and that you would use this moment to turn people's attention towards you, that you might be glorified and that your people might be edified. Encourage them even now that they have an answer, they have a source with all of the solutions, and his name is Jesus. And I ask, God, that you would bless the families that are huddled in place, that are all over the world right now, that are dealing with loss, significant loss. I ask that you would give them the grace of healing and implement your peace on their lives. Thank you even now that in the midst of this, we know that you're working and turning it towards our good. Thank you for your word, for your promises, which are both yes and amen. When you speak it, it is as you have spoken. And thank you in advance for even the season that is to come, the season of victory, the season of healing, the season of restoration. Thank you in advance that, God, we're going to be stronger than we've ever been. Thank you that our faith will grow, our prayer life will grow, our families will grow, our finances will grow, and God, you will restore everything that the locusts have stolen. I give you glory, I give you honor, and I even give you praise in advance for everything that I expect you to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.